Welcome to Crossing Darkness, a podcast about role-playing games ranging from the World of Darkness tabletop setting to the MMORPGs like EVE Online and everything in between. We broadcast live over Twitch and are open to answering questions during the show. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout. My co-host is Motorori, who helped me create this podcast, as well as a 40-person, 4-table Gen Con event.
Hello, everyone, and today we will go over some of our Madison Under Siege setting that will be used for the two games we have at Tryitcon. So, Josh, you're going to be running those games, but let's start with, for those of our listeners who don't know, what is Tryitcon?
So Tryitcon is something that is being hosted as a virtual con for different kind of games that you've never tried before and you'd like to try it out. And check out some of the different kind of awesome games that are out there. There seems to be quite a bit of range of different games that you can kind of play. So like at this point in time, there's Beast, the Primordial, Vampire the Requiem Second Edition, Prometheum, Blades, Geist, Second Edition, Exalted Third Edition, as well as quite a bit more. We are going to be running a Mage the Ascension game, as well as a Demon the Fallen game.
Yeah, and if people are interested and not aware, if you go to tryitcon.com, the schedule is currently up. I think there's, looks like about 50 games. Maybe less than 30.
It's something like 40, I think, something like that. I think that my Demon game is one of the later submissions, and I believe that is game 45, so...
Yeah. And now you're actually going to be playing in a game as well. It's a Hunter the Reckoning game.
Yep. So yeah, there's a Hunter the Reckoning game that I'm playing in, and a Mage the Ascension game that I'm playing in, I believe. Let's see here. My schedule. So yeah, on Friday, the Friday, May 14th at 7 p.m., I will be doing my Demon the Fallen game, Madison Under Siege. And that goes from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a 5-player game. And then we have on Saturday, I will be doing Mage the Ascension Second Edition, Adventure to the Hollow Earth. And I'm really interested in that. Especially since I just got done watching like Godzilla, so
I just saw that last week.
So
you're talking about the new one, right?
Yeah, yep. And there's I mean, not necessarily that it's 100% connected, but there's some connections there, and I'm always interested in the concept of Hollow Earth, so I'm interested to see what this GM does with the new take. Or with a take on what Hollow Earth is. If they're going to go strictly with what's kind of talked about in the Mage book, or if they're going to kind of have their own crazy take on it, or if they've watched recently Godzilla and we'll have dual gravity at the very center.
Yeah. And I kind of misread it when we were talking earlier. You said you were playing in that Hunter the Reckoning game. And I was like, oh, that's on Sunday at 12. And I didn't realize it's actually 11 p.m. on Saturday that starts.
Yeah.
So there are some late night games if people are interested in those.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so then there's Mage the Ascension that I'm doing 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The Madison Under Siege. Our setting, we'll get into talking about it more, but it's kind of like an end of the world, saving the world from utter destruction, and what the demons and the mages kind of do during those time periods. And then we have Hunter the Reckoning, Murder by Any Other Name, which, yeah, that's at 11 p.m., and that goes until 3 a.m. So I'm excited to do like a crazy late night game. I'm always down for the witching hour games, so... And then I'm also in a Trinity Continuum game that I'm going to be checking out, Slow Day at Work, and that's on Sunday at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, there's just honestly a lot of different games, and I think looking through it, there are not a lot of tickets sold yet. I assume that will change pretty quickly uh, coming up here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm hoping for a good sellout on my tickets, but whatever I get, I can have a fun time with. I've kind of planned mine out as normally I have like a 10 player kind of game kind of set up for the mage game, but and it's a little bit more political. But this time I'm going well, there's two parts of it. There's a really heavy combat crazy attack on an umbral realm, which is what we're going to be focusing on. And then there's the political aspect of it, which we won't be getting into.
Yeah. Well, why don't we talk about that in terms of the setting? So, the Madison Under Siege setting. What are your players going to need to know for these games?
So starting off, I kind of give like a little bit of a teaser opener, and I'll kind of go over that here, and then kind of go a little bit more in depth here on this. So, um, the teaser that we kind of give for Madison Under Siege, Mage the Ascension, is that known to the world as 77 square miles surrounded by reality, this city is a beacon of hope in a sea of darkness. The year is 2017, and the Avatar storm has come and gone, changing mage society and much of the Umbral landscape. This allowed Nefandi to enact a plan of almost complete control over mages and other supernaturals of this world. In Madison, this gave rise to a rebellion that overthrew this evil leadership, that overthrew its evil leadership at great cost. JD, the founder of Madison, was murdered by Nefandi before they fell to the rebellion. This power vacuum has allowed for old rivalries within traditions to rekindle. Will the delicate balance between the traditions in Madison fall into chaos? So, as leader of the Madison, as leader of a Madison magical tradition, you will be preparing an attack on the umbral realm called the Dark Tower. Created by the Nameless, this realm is the seat of his power, but also his greatest weakness. Join forces with the 9 other traditions of Madison to destroy the creature who threatens all of reality. And then I have a link for you to kind of get some more information on character and as well as setting kind of information as well. Um, but the basis of the setting is that it's kind of the end of the world. There's some crazy stuff that has kind of happened prior to 2017. So pretty much up to 2020, we try to keep it pretty by book. On our website, we also kind of give a little bit of history as to what the mages of Madison, the vampires of Madison, the werewolves of Madison, and the hunters and wraith of Madison have kind of been up to. Um, and we kind of detail out that, but we try and keep the overall world architecture as to like kind of what's happened before as pretty well canon. Um, and then in 2000, there's the Avatar, or 1999, right? July of 1999. There's the Avatar storm and the Maelstrom and a bunch of crazy stuff that kind of happens in 1999. And then in 2001, I think, is when we do a weird kind of withering where we kind of have all the vampires, they all lose all of their generation, but then they can regain it through blood potency, which is basically like feeding on a bunch of blood or finding, people that have high blood potency and feeding off of them in order to get high blood potency. Um,
Now
and so
that's the rule set from Vampire the Requiem, correct?
Right. So we kind of rolled in and did a slight change on the rules, basically just regarding generation. That we got rid of generation and we replaced it with the blood potency system. But we gave an overall setting event that happened that that brought this about. And 1999 July when Ravenos dies. It's like kind of the beginning because Ravenos saw that this was coming and was like, I'm going to awaken and try and do shit before I lose all of my power. And was one of the first ones affected as well. And so one of the things about them is that they have to wake up and drink a whole bunch of fucking blood, powerful blood at that. Hopefully, plus that's not affected by the withering, and it kind of went down the chain of command. So the first generation, like Cain, would have got hit technically, possibly first. We don't really go into what happens with him, but the third generation it definitely get hit like first, and they're the ones that are kind of awakening and doing and making actions and moving because they're waking up needing to consolidate their power and ensure that they can keep their third generation quote unquote status with blood potency, which is an extremely difficult thing to do with the way that the blood potency system is set up. So immediately, things start kind of going crazy, and we kind of have the whole world kind of throw its head up, or everything gets kind of thrown on its head, and it's a little bit crazy for the vampire world. We focus a lot of that information and that kind of stuff on Madison because one of the things that we're kind of doing with our setting is that this has all been a setup by the Nameless, right? Like everything has been kind of moving towards this end of the world scenario where he's going to win and conquer the world and destroy all of reality. And that's like his ultimate goal. Um, and the thing is that what we're doing at Gen Con, or what we did at Gen Con, is we did a 3-year game that focused on, trying to stop the Nameless from being, from winning this war. But you're playing at the very end with extremely powerful characters, basically. But the
Yeah.
idea of it is to do like a rule of cool. We're not there to like be all lordy about rules or make sure that you know all the rules and how to do everything. It's a very You've never played any role-playing games before, that's fine. All you need to do is think of crazy cool things, and we give you a base concept of what your character is. And we give a sizable booklet for you to kind of go through on your character, who they are, who they know, what their political interests are, because there's a big thing for, the game. Where when we did it at Gen Con, we still had a lot of newbies that kind of jumped into the game. We did prefer to have more experienced players in those games because we were doing also like political stuff as well on top of our combat type stuff. But this game is going to be focused primarily on the assault on the Dark Tower, and it's just about you're a really powerful mage with a bunch of spheres at really high levels. Just make stuff up, and I'm going to work with you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shut people down, and that's not the focus of the game. It's more of just have fun with it. We're gonna do some crazy stuff. We're
Yeah.
going to
Are
another
are you
realm.
are you worried at all that because it's a convention called Tryitcon that you might have a group of players that doesn't know Mage at all, and so it's just going to be 4 hours of trying to explain spheres to people, or what's your expectation around that?
My expectation is that nobody has played before. Absolutely. And that's what I mean by it's about rule of cool. It's not going to be about rules. It's about
Okay.
you play a really powerful character that can do almost anything. You're going to an umbral realm that has some crazy features about it, and your character will explain some of the important stuff that you are expected to do in this umbral realm in order to assist 10 other mages that are doing stuff. And so the players are only going to be able to play between 1 and 5 of the mages that are going to be participating in this. The rest of them are going to be doing, their job, and it's all about all the mages working together to attack this crazy umbral realm. And it's just in the end, I'm going to explain what spheres are on a very basic kind of level, and then we're going to jump right into rule of cool. What do you want to do and how are you doing it? And as long as you explain something that's cool, I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's how Mage works. So
That's how I run mage normally. So, yes.
yeah.
It's going to be a little bit easier because everybody is so powerful that I don't have to really feel that I'm breaking any rules most of the time because you're just so crazy powerful. Um,
Awesome. So that's the mage game. What's this demon game that you're going to be running?
all right, so the demon game kind of is based off of the same time period, same setting, Madison under siege. All the same things are kind of going on, but this is going to be the players are playing five extremely powerful demons. And what are these demons doing during the end of the world? So the premise that we have for this one is known to the world as 77 square miles surrounded by reality. The city of Madison is a beacon of hope in a sea of darkness. The year is 2017, and the Avatar storm has come and gone, opening the abyss and allowing demons to once again return to Earth. However, the force that foresaw, sorry, however, the force that was foresaw by Lucifer long ago has resurfaced and threatens to destroy all of creation. You are part of a group of powerful Luciferians that have come to Madison in search of Lucifer himself, in order to obtain the guidance needed to fight the coming darkness. Wielding a powerful relic with that will shine in the presence of Lucifer, and with rumors of his sightings in Madison, you hope to convince Lucifer to once again lead you in the coming war. Will Lucifer finish what he started, or will the demons who return to Earth need to find their own way through the darkness? Then we give some basic kind of information, but the basis of this is I'm trying to grab some pretty popular named demons and stuff like that, and I'm just gonna twist and torment them into whatever I want them to be. But it'll be historical. For example, I have like Beelzebub and Bahamut and a few other names, and I'm gonna kind of do what shows like Supernatural and other shows have done throughout time with demon names and just twist them to whatever I want them to be. But I'll try and stay with, some of the biblical crap that's behind it. But a lot of it's just a bunch of made up bullshit anyways. So I'm just going to twist it and turn it to what I want it to be.
Yeah, it's all made up anyway.
Right.
Yeah, no, I looked at the list. Let me see if I can open that real quick. So let's see, Beelzebub. I saw, is it Samael? Samael.
Yeah, Samael. We have Azazel, I believe. Let's see here.
Let's see, Asmodeus, Mammon, Abaddon, Belphegor, and Baphomet.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure that some of the people that are signing up for this have probably at least are familiar with Demon the Fallen.
Yep. And Luciferians are basically the demons that are like, we need to find Lucifer and we need to like rekindle the war with heaven, which is really difficult because there's no angels left and heaven is like supposedly empty, and nobody knows what the fuck is going on with Yahweh or any of the angels or any of the activities. So, like, they not only are they trying to rekindle the war to a certain degree, but there's no enemy to really fight, so they need to find a new enemy to fight. So a lot of them are fighting the what are they? The Earthbound. So the demons that have been around, that got like resummoned back out of the abyss really long time ago, and have been like kicking ass and taking names here on Earth. So there's like this whole Earthbound thing that they're trying to fight. Some of them are fighting just other demons. Some of them don't believe that heaven is like retreated, that it's just a trick, and that once they find Lucifer, they'll be able to find heaven and start wreaking havoc on the angels again. But they're all kind of the basis of what the Luciferians want to do though is find Lucifer so they can figure out what the fuck to do next, because they don't really quite know what to do next, except for fight some kind of war. So they just pick a war and they go at it. So I'm going to have each one of the demons is kind of going to have their own viewpoint on how they believe that Lucifer will react when they find him, and how they're going to try and get Lucifer to side with them, And I'm gonna plan on having some character, like a lot of concepts of like characters conflicting with each other, and having some heavy role play involved in being really powerful demons that you're just going to be able to kick the shit out of. Some I definitely want to have like a peon fight, and then like like where like 20 gangsters try like jumping you, and it's just like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like,
So I'm not super familiar with Demon, despite the fact that I have a bunch of the books up there. What kind of powers do demons have? How do they use them?
so demons have it's similar to like Vampire the Masquerade in the sense that they're pretty specific on what their powers allow them to do. Um, but they're all divvied up into different aspects of. Uh, so it's kind of hard to to explain because I don't quite remember all the specifics on the exact powers, but it's all there has to do with when you're in different kind of forms. There's the horde form where if you have a whole bunch of torment and stuff like that, or it's like the torment format or form, like you have like your angelic form that you can churn into. But if you've been tormented while you were in the abyss and you haven't been able to relieve a lot of that while you've been on Earth, you can be more demonic. Is kind of the concept, and so you get different powers for um, different ways to kind of use your powers. So you can have like the base power, the angelic power, and like the demonic power, I believe. Um, and that's something
Okay.
that I'm going to definitely have to research a lot more. I played in a game, I've run it a couple of times, and I have to just brush myself back up on powers. And one of the things I'm going to do is with the character, I'm going to give a list of all the powers that they have and what they do.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, it's very much in the spirit of Tryitcon then, because one of the things that Terry wanted was people to GM things that they weren't, you know, entirely familiar with.
Right, I've only been able to play in one game now of Demon the Fallen, and I've been able to story tell it twice or no, once I think. I've only been able to pretty sure that's I've only been able to story tell for it once. And that was just that was a long time ago as well. The recent game was with Terry though. Terry and me were part of a demon group that attacked um, oh, we went to we were like sent to go get an item, and I remember, oh, that's it. We were trying to get we had like information on Arcadia or something like that, and we were trying to sell it to people, and we had to talk to three different buyers, and oh wow, it was a really crazy cool game. That was a lot of
That
fun.
was the game that you played at Virtual Horror Con, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have to read a bit of Demon. It sounds interesting.
Demon is a lot of fun. Demon is just the concept of when you come back and play demon, even at your low level, you still have that angelic demonic form. So like you might just be this normal human, but when you turn into your angelic form, you might be like a 10-foot tall, like crazy angelic thing. You don't necessarily have all the quote unquote stats to back it up to be like you're like, oh, this is gonna be super super dangerous to fight, but it is intimidating as fuck just to think about it. Like oh shit, because it's I like that it's also more of the angels out of and I think we were talking about this at one point when or I was talking with I know um
It was last week Monday after Technogate. We were talking about angelic forms, and
right.
in the Bible, when apparently, because I didn't know about this, when they describe angels, it's like mind bending. It's all like a mass of wings and eyes, and it just hurts your brain.
Right, so yeah,
It's almost like instead of angels being like what we would consider to be angels, it's more like out of the Cthulhu mythos, but like you know with radiant light rather than
Right.
dark, terrifying light.
That still drives you insane. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so it's an interesting setting, and it gets you into like the one thing that's really interesting about it that I find. Because immediately you're like, oh well, so this breaks all the or this opens up that all the mythology about demons and angels and all that stuff is correct, right? That's got to be true, because of course these people are the demons that are so they're the angels that created reality, so they know what's going on. And it's like, nope, the abyss made you completely forget about what was really going on. You might get fragmented memories of what happened in the past, but you can't necessarily trust those 100%. And it kind of opens this door that since there's no heaven, there's no angels. You get out after this crazy catastrophe kind of happens on Earth, and it wipes out most of the Dark Umbra. Um, you come back with this. Well, I mean, is there something else that might have happened? Is you don't have to put demon into the whole Lucifer versus, God kind of fighting thing that's happened, because, and even the setting doesn't even really set you up to do that. You're much more set up to do fighting other demons and fighting the Earthbound and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It's not really a focus on the fight with heaven, and it doesn't even bring angels into the account. It tells you all that you need to know about angels because demons are angels. But in the game setting itself, there are no angels after 1999, and
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
maybe
It
the
actually,
angels never existed. Like,
yeah. It kind of follows the theme of many of the other game lines where it's like you take a supernatural creature that um, in in the normal telling of it is always an evil factor. Like werewolves, vampires were always just like killing machines, evil.
monster of the
And in
week.
the yeah, in the game lines, they basically said like, no, it's a lot more complicated. It's just always more complicated. And it sounds like Demon did the same thing, where it's like, yeah, these are the fallen angels, and now they're on Earth, and maybe they have powers, but yeah, what are they fighting for? You get to decide.
Yep, and they did the same thing that they did kind of with vampires. Well, I think really werewolf and maybe wraith are the ones that have like the solid, like we kind of know what history is. But even werewolf has problems with that because it's all verbal. Most of it's not written
Yeah,
history that they have, so you get the telephone game. So all of these game lines kind of set you up for this concept that nobody knows what the fuck is really going on or what the fuck happened a long ass time ago. Even if there's a creature that existed a long ass fucking time ago, most of them don't remember what the fuck happened at this point because of some kind of traumatic event like being locked up in the abyss or just having existed for so long or sleeping for so long that or you normally don't interact with something that existed, before the flood. And that's kind of where the game kind of puts that wall of there's this crazy shit that all happened before the flood, and we know that there's some shit that happened, that's kind of crazy still anyways, that's more, at pre-flood type of activity. But for the most part we don't really know about, and White Wolf doesn't put any solid thing and say that this has to have happened in the past. You can always be like, Cain is a myth. All of that is bullshit. And that's what the Camarilla says. They're like, that's bullshit. There is no such thing as Cain. There is no such thing as the third generation. There are generations, and there might have been third generation, but the concept of like the overall, things being around anymore or anything like that, man, that's all just a bunch of bullshit myth. Like,
yeah, and there's actually in the world of darkness, there's kind of this idea that gets brought up from time to time that historical events aren't necessarily real anymore. Uh, kind of like in the mage mythos, it's all about consensual reality, and belief actually structures reality to a certain extent. And I swear I've read this somewhere where it's kind of like at some point it doesn't matter if the story of Cain is real or not. It's at some point it matters more whether or not people believe in it.
Mm-hmm. And how they
So
react to that belief and what they do
yeah,
based on that.
yeah, and so there's a little bit of that. Um, and then it's up to GMs how they want to deal with it, obviously.
Yep. And for the most part, what I'm going with and what I'm going to be doing, with this when it comes to a lot of cons coming up and how I kind of structure this, because this is all based off of our 40-person game that we had, where we had vampires, werewolf, mages, and hunters all sitting at different tables, and then we would do like a downtime and they could kind of interact with each other, and then we kind of did some political stuff where they were all kind of politicking at each other. Um, and so it's kind of based off of this, but I've definitely put it more of a focus on. I don't need the whole troop. We're not going to be doing a lot of the political kind of stuff, and it's just going to be doing all the rule of cool, combat, crazy kind of stuff. And it's not. I'm not even going to be following the combat rules 100% a lot of the times. Like for example, one of the things
Yeah.
that I did with the mage realm getting assaulted was, you got to roll and do some crazy magic, and you got to affect the battlefield on a large scale. You got to blow up multiple ships, kill multiple people. Have like the instead of just I open up a portal and then I have to wait till next turn to do something. It was like, no, you get a full minute or two of like combat that you get to have. So you open up a portal, slice open this person, open up another portal, jump through, slice open this guy, like jump through, get up to the main person, you know. So we kind of open stuff up a little bit more when it comes to these kind of really crazy scenarios that kind of I throw at people. But to a certain degree, it's also going to be a slow build up to that as well. It's usually something that's kind of a little bit more guided. You have kind of a concept of how you're going to be doing stuff, and then mid and late game is when I'm going to have you kind of have to be more off the cuff and figure out how you're going to want to deal with the situation that came up. Um, I've also run these games before at Gen Con, and so to be honest, though, you're not going to get a spoiler alert from the other Gen Cons because I've also run this at other games as well. And the way that I've designed this module is that I'm changing it up pretty drastically every time that they go to the realm of the nameless. Sometimes the name of the realm will be different. But the concept is that it's the realm of the nameless, and every time that the players go, it's just a different reality of mages trying to fight this nameless, and the nameless is going to eventually find a reality that he wins. He's going to be very happy when that happens, and then he's going to try and do it again and again and again until he wins forever. So
Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure I have any other questions about it. Is there anything in the chat? I had to close the window.
nope, not at this time. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and start wrapping up things here. We got a good little talking. We're going to be spending the next couple of weeks kind of talking about Tryitcon games that we find interesting about that we're going to be either participating in or wishing that we could participate in based upon schedules. And then we'll definitely do a Tryitcon episode on Sunday that will kind of go over what kind of happened at Tryitcon, and I think the next week after that we'll do a real like kind of review, and maybe try and get Terry or some other people on from Tryitcon to come on. But next week or so,
Yeah.
we might be trying to get some people that are running some games to maybe come on as well, and talk about what they're doing. So if you're running a game at Tryitcon or want to just come on and talk about Tryitcon, hit us up and we'll definitely schedule out some time for you.
Yeah, it's we want more people to play World of Darkness games, so
Or any kind of games. Like there's a lot of really good games that they have out there. So check it out.
Yep.
It's going to be Tryitcon